Hi guys, I hope that you're doing well. So, a couple of updates on what's been going on in the district. So, some of your other teachers have probably reached out to you and talked to you about Edgenuity. So, basically, yesterday we were told that we were going to have to do a program called Edgenuity with you in order to make sure that Austin um, has records of what you've been doing to ensure that one, you get credit, and two, that we get funding for school for next year. And with that being said, the district decided to push this out to us yesterday and haven't given us a lot of detail about it yet. So I'm just mentioning it to you because things are probably going to change next week as far as the things you have to do for this class and for your other classes. Basically, Edgenuity is the program that you would use if you were going to take that credit recovery. And so it's the only downfall of it. Well, I don't know anything about it in terms of content, but there's not a curriculum for pre AP 3 or any pre AP classes. So basically, what you're going to be doing is a regular class in Edgenuity. And so, as far as you getting credit, they're still giving you credit for pre AP, but the content is not pre AP rigorous. So, if you're planning on going to AP or dual credit or further pre AP classes for next year, then you are not getting the rigor that is needed to make sure you're going to succeed in the next upper level class. So, for instance, the fact that we're reading Gatsby and analyzing it and making sure you understand the thematic elements and the characters and everything that's inside of it, um, that doesn't take place in Edgenuity. It's very basic and structured that way. So, what I'm thinking is that as pre-AP students, you should be able to get through Edgenuity rather quickly because, like I said, it is on a regular class level. And I want to make sure that I'm not doing you a disservice by just giving you that to do. And when you get to school next year and you go on to take AP or on ramps or whatever it is, the next upper level class that you're going to take, that you're caught off guard and not prepared because that's kind of how it's setting you up. So we're going to continue on with Gatsby. You're going to do Edgenuity, I think. I don't know. We haven't been told really how it's going to work yet. I have a meeting on Monday, and that's going to give me more information about it and how it's going to work for you. So this week, we're just going to continue like things are normal, and you're going to continue to do Gatsby and Gatsby work. And then next week, on Monday, when I get that information, sorry. When I get that information, then I will give it to you, and we'll see how the rest of this is going to play out. But by the end of this week, you're 1/3 of the way through the book already. So there's no use of stopping because that's, again, not going to be helpful for you in the long run. So my plan, if it all works in the way I'm thinking, is you will do Edgenuity next week is whenever we'll start it. And then you will also continue to read Gatsby because as pre-AP students, you should be able to do both. I don't think it's going to be hurtful to you. I think you will be just fine doing it. Even if we have to slow down a little bit with Gatsby, instead of doing so many chapters a week, maybe we can slow down and cut it in half or whatever. We'll work it out. But with only 6 chapters of Gatsby left after this week, I think it's more than doable for you, and it'll make sure that you're prepared to go on to your upper level class next year. So as far as any information about Edgenuity goes, I don't have any other than it's coming. When I go to my meeting on Monday, or my virtual meeting on Monday, I'll have much more information, hopefully, and then I can give it to you whenever your next video will come out, which will be next Tuesday. So we're just going to assume things are normal for this week. This is the video for Wednesday. You'll get another video for Friday, and then on next Tuesday is when I should have some information for you. So hopefully that all makes sense. If it doesn't, please just give me an email. I've already got an email from a couple of kids concerning it and responded. And so I want to make sure that I'm as transparent to you as possible. This was not given to us other than from yesterday, and so I didn't have time to plan it or to investigate it or see what's going on before I made this video for you. But with that being said, I mean, things are just going to keep moving forward. That's how it's going to work. So, by now, you have read chapters 1 and chapter 2. So, chapter 1 was the one that I said was a little difficult, but from your check ins, you were actually killing it. You thought it was not as bad as I made it out to be, which is awesome. I'm glad I kind of hyped it up that way so that it was easier for you. And then you read chapter 2. Chapter 2 was my favorite. Chapter 2 and 7 are my absolute favorite chapters in this whole book. So chapter 2, you got to meet the mistress, right? And so you got to meet Myrtle. First of all, horrible name. Second of all, I wanted you to think about how she was being described compared to how Daisy's being described. And so they're almost polar opposites, right? So you have Daisy, that is this fair-skinned, beautiful woman that everyone is dying to be around, and that her voice is so enchanting and charming, and it just draws people in, and it makes people want to be around her all the time. And then you have Myrtle, that is described as kind of full-figured, tacky, right? Has a brown dress that's fit over her huge hips. That's how it's described. And she's definitely the opposite of how Daisy's described, right? So you kind of get the idea that she's not as attractive as Daisy is. And then just looking up her social class, right? She's in the Valley of Ashes. And so the Valley of Ashes is the place for the working class. So you have the West Egg and the East Egg. That is representative of the higher class, the new money and the old money, which we'll talk about a little bit in chapter 3. And then you have Valley of Ashes. So even the name sounds like it's degrading, right? So it's somewhere where people take their trash to get burned. And this is where Myrtle lives. And so it's kind of ironic that Tom's other woman is living in this place whenever he has this beautiful woman at home that's his wife. So why do you think that he's dating Myrtle? I mean, what's the appeal? It could be the fact that who's going to find out, because all of his social class people and all his friends are not going to be in the Valley of Ashes, right? She's kind of hidden in this lower class society. And then you have the idea that maybe he liked the attention that Myrtle was giving him, because if Myrtle is not from the social class and is not as beautiful as Daisy is, and is not as charming, and people don't love her as much, then she's going to give Tom all that attention, right? She is going to be doing things for Tom in terms of, paying attention to him and making sure that he's loved and making sure that he's taken care of, where Daisy might have neglected because she's used to how she is, right? She's used to having the money, so on and so forth. So there's definitely a lot of things that go into that. And then you have Nick, the awkwardness of Nick, that is in chapter 2, that you see that he's just kind of dragged along to this meeting with the other woman, and you get to see how he deals with it. And then you get to see how arrogant Tom is, taking Daisy's cousin to meet the other woman, right? Like, you really think that Nick's not going to tell his cousin what's going on? But he doesn't care. Tom doesn't really care about that. So they have this big party. You get to meet some other kind of crazy characters that are surrounding Myrtle and Tom's life. But let's talk about that apartment, right? So that apartment is significant because it's not just Tom's apartment. It's Tom's and Myrtle's apartment in the city. So not only is Tom cheating on his wife, he literally has a house for him and his lover to go to spend time together. So it's not just a casual fling. This is something that is going on for a while, and that has been to the point where they bought an apartment together, right? And they bought a dog. She wanted a dog, right? And so he bought it for her. And in relationships, when people are trying to get committed to one another, right, they have this idea that maybe we're not ready to have kids, so they buy a puppy. It's that practice. Let's see if we can take care of something together. And it's almost like she's trying to nail him down. Like, if I have this apartment with you and now we have this puppy together, look at this life that we could have if you could just be with me. So all this is going on, right? And then you have this party with these crazy characters and her sister that show up. And obviously it's not the first time they've been in this apartment, so it's been happening before. So again, not a short fling. And then you get the slap, right? So that is what kind of came out of nowhere. And why does Tom slap Myrtle? You know, like just because she's saying Daisy's name. Well, what does that really say about how he feels about Daisy? Does he really love her enough to defend her honor? Or is it putting Myrtle in her place, right? So, do you honestly think that Myrtle to him would ever be more than a side piece? No, she's not. She's always going to be the side chick, and she tended to forget that. And the fact that she was trying to overcompensate for it and make fun of his wife, he didn't like. Not so much as defending Daisy, but as to show Myrtle, like, no, you will forever be the side, and you're not ever going to be the main. That's just how it's going to work, right? So he slaps her to put her in her place. And again, showing you how great of a man Tom Buchanan is. And then you have Nick that leaves the party with Mr. McKee. If you didn't pick up on that, let's look at that chapter real quick, or that section. So in chapter 2 at the very end, Tom and Mr. McKee, Nick and Mr. McKee leave together. And it says, this is starting at the bottom of page 37. Come to lunch someday, he suggested as we groaned down the elevator. Where? Anywhere. Keep your hands off the lever, snapped the elevator boy. I beg your pardon, said Mr. McKee with dignity. I didn't know I was touching it. All right, I agreed. I'll be glad to. I was standing beside his bed, and he was sitting up between the sheets, clad in his underwear, with a great portfolio in his hands. Beauty and the Beast, Loneliness, Old Grocery Horse, Brooklyn Bridge. Then I was lying half asleep in the cold lower level of the Pennsylvania station, staring at the Morning Tribune and waiting for the 4 o'clock train. So why is Nick standing by the bed of Mr. McKee when they're in their underwear? What does that tell you about Nick? Right? Okay, just something to think about. So that's chapter 2, right? And it had a lot going on, which is why it's one of my favorites. So chapter 2 and 7. So 7 is going to be kind of where the crap hits the fan, and we'll get to that sooner than later. Your assignment for today is not to read chapter 3. We're going to hold off until Friday. You are going to do your check-in, and then you're going to do analysis of the Valley of Ashes, and then you're going to actually get to act as if you're Tom, and you're going to write a letter to Daisy and a letter to Myrtle and kind of explain what's been going on. And anything you want to write about, it can be love letters, it can be wanting to break up letters, it can be anything, but you're going to get to pretend as if you're Tom writing to the two women in his life. As far as the Valley of Ashes assignment goes, it's just you analyzing and putting in some textual evidence about what the Valley of Ashes symbolizes. And then the Tom's Letters assignment, you do have to add textual evidence from the novel. So if you don't have the novel with you, there is a PDF available online for you to be able to pull out quotes. If not, then you'll just have to listen to the audio and type as you go, okay? I hope that you're all doing well. I hope that you're all being safe. Again, I'm sorry, my daughter is asleep again, so you're not going to get to see her in this video. So definitely Friday, I will have her for you so you can get to see her. But I will see you all on Friday, and I hope that y'all are doing well. And if you have not already, please join the Remind. I have a lot of you on there, but not all of you. If you could reach out to your friends and have them get on as soon as possible, because this is going to be the only way that we can communicate, especially if things start to change in terms of the Edgenuity program, that I can communicate with you quick. All right, I hope that you'll have a great day, and I'll see y'all on Friday.